And, it's a deal. It's a big
Netflix
deal. It's
is getting lots of
over
pushback
100 billion.
from a number of primarily. There's been a few. It's been bipartisan pushback who are really worried about the antitrust competitive aspects of that deal. At the same time, you have a hostile takeover emerging from David Ellison. So we're kind of
with
and you
Middle
have
Eastern
lawmakers like
and
Elizabeth Warren who don't love that deal either. So a lot of chatter from government workers. And in the meantime, Ted Sarandos said, we're fine. We're confident. We're good. So where do we stand on that right now?
I guess I would say where we stand is probably about where AT&T stood a few weeks into buying Warner Brothers back in the day. 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I think it was
8 years ago.
27. It was Trump 1. I think it was 2017 when they started. And the Department of Justice harumphed about, they were doing it to try to have stuff, pipes of different kinds like DirecTV, which they'd also bought, and then content to put in those pipes, and that together was going to make AT&T a much more exciting company than a boring old telecom, the first telecom company. And it turned out it did not do that. John Stakey cut those deals, became CEO, and promptly undid those deals. But they took about 2 years to wade through a court challenge. I mean, the DOJ actually filed suit to block it, got their butts kicked. I mean, the judge just kind of laughed them out of court by the time it was done because they just didn't really have a good case. And I'm curious if DOJ wants to go and block this, if Netflix is serious about this, and if Ellison and all his new friends in high and low places can't persuade some major shareholders to turn and take advantage of a possibly more valuable deal.
Quickly sort of talk about a few of the details. Of Elizabeth Warren, who piped up this week and said it's dangerous to have foreign interests, specifically the Saudis, on down
Emirates,
Qatari,
Qatar,
that foreign money buying our biggest entertainment companies, media companies, is dangerous. And separately, you have Mike Lee and guys on the MAGA side talking about antitrust and Hart-Scott-Rodino rules and etc. They sound like actual policy wonks when they do that, which is kind of impressive.
I don't think Mike Lee is the guy I'd count on for sophisticated interpretations of Hart-Scott-Rodino. And I think that as Lena Khan,
Tim Scott is
the
National Republican.
Scott's fine. I mean, he's tight with Trump and all that, so you might think he's channeling Trump in some fashion, but and he's popular, but these guys are not judges. They're not judges. It's not going to matter. They can make noise, but that's about it. I mean, if they really want to update the antitrust laws, about time. Lena Khan tried to do it without benefit of Senate or House guidance, which is tough to do these days.
Well, there's two layers here. Is David Zaslav put off and scared by the fact that there's foreign money that could come under scrutiny here, and does he resist that because it seems like eventually Ellison will bid to a point where separate the linear assets or don't separate them. There's just more money here coming from Paramount, and it might over time become enticing.
Well, it's not even that it becomes enticing. The real question at that point becomes, do you open yourself up to shareholder lawsuits for ignoring a far more valuable deal? Are you meeting your fiduciary duties as a member of the board to accept the best deal? And the best deal has to be interpreted in lots of ways. He's trying to set it out as, we can get, it's more cash, it's more likely to close, more regulatory certainty. That's what he was saying in some of the letters he sent. Right.
But here's my question: what is the likelihood that the Ellisons keep sweetening this deal to the point where that resistance becomes futile to that pressure? The sheer undeniability that it's just monetarily a bigger, much better bid. Do you see that?
I can't tell you what the specific number is, but the valuation of the company, instead of it being $83 billion, including $10 billion in debt, versus what's probably 108. That's a $25 billion difference. That's a notable where I come from. I could probably scoot by with the $25 billion.
That includes the linear assets, though. I mean, some of that is an actual.
Yeah, but as one of the equity analysts we routinely quote, I can't remember if it was Robert Fishman over MoffettNathanson or Laura Martin at Needham. One of them mentioned, oh, by the way, it appears they're only valuing all of Discovery Global Networks at about $1 billion, which is kind of a slap in the face. It's like, yeah. You guys look up. It's not really worth that much. It's
Say yes to the dress is worth $1 billion.
Yeah, right. Okay. They could buy into Sora for that, or for into OpenAI for. It's like what they should do is say, "Hey, Sam Altman, why don't you just take Discovery Global Networks, and just turn them all into Sora figures, because they're kind of cartoonish anyway, all those reality shows." But that's another story. Look, at some point there is a difference in straight value that becomes problematic, but from shareholder lawsuits, right? Because of that requirement of the board to get the best deal on behalf of the share. And you remember there were suits going on around Paramount when the Sherry Redstone did that deal to merge with Skydance, because people were saying, oh, no, you're basically screwing over most shareholders to benefit Sherry. Well, most of us are not getting a great deal. And to his credit, Ellison tried to cover up some of that with some additional money in various places, both to the preferred stock shareholders and the run-of-the-mill B class, whatever they used to call it. I can't remember now. So he had to react to some of that to sweeten the deal, to take care of other shareholders. Well, this is some of that, but in a different way in terms of the competing bids and how they get valued out.
Yeah, it's hard to see which way this goes. I mean, early days for sure.